Hey now, it's Ruben at Help Find the Others. How you guys doing? Again, I want to start out with gratitude for everyone that you know sends me messages and comes on the live streams and everything. Everyone that reaches out is great because I've said from the start I don't care how many people watch these videos that I make and whatever. I care who. All right, so if I'm resonating with you, please follow the rabbit hole. Okay, please uh, email me. Help find the others at protonmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, Discord, Telegram, all the links I put out. Follow that rabbit hole, okay? Let's connect. I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to, like text and stuff like that, trying to get a Skype session. Man, it's going to be tough to do right now. There's about 4 hours in the whole day or in the whole week that I can get in front of this camera that there wouldn't be a little kid sitting on my lap or a big kid over there playing Xbox. So as far as having like a in-depth conversation or whatever, I really it's going to be hard to do right now. Eventually, yes. Eventually, yes. But if someone has a story they're really wanting to tell me, either get WhatsApp and well, email me first off. Help find the others at protonmail.com. Like I said, follow the rabbit hole. But send, type it up. Type me a story, man. I'm gonna read it. But also, if you get WhatsApp, and I will email you my number on there, and you can send little voice or video, like 3 minute, even longer video clips telling your story. I'll watch that. So. Yeah, I don't want to put my phone number out on the YouTube thing, but email me and we can hook up through WhatsApp, and you can send me little video clips. We can send them back and forth like a little video email. I do that with a couple people and it's great. Okay, so anyway, today I wanted to talk about it's not really psychedelic, but it's a plant medicine, and what I want to talk about is kratom, whichever you want to pronounce it. In Southeast Asia, where the plant is from, they call it kratom. In the States, we call it kratom. So there's definitely some more technical videos you can watch about it because I don't even know how to pronounce the actual active ingredient that is of such concern in this country in it. But there's to dumb down what kratom is, if someone doesn't know, it's a tree that grows in Southeast Asia, and you take the leaves off of it, dry them out, ground them up, and take it either as a pill. There's different methods, but mainly you ingest it. Okay, either through with making coffee or some people just throw the powder in their mouth and toss water down their mouth. I just take it in pills. But anyway, I wanted to give my personal experience with it, and then also my social commentary on what's going on with the legal status of it. So, fast forward or rewind 5 years, right? And a buddy of mine is on probation and can't smoke weed, so he starts taking a legal weed called kratom, and he's smoking it, which now I know that's not a very common method of using this drug. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, I ordered it online and whatever, and it sucks. And I was like, yeah, okay, I could see that. I mean, legal weeds suck. So he, but he's the first one. That's the first time I heard it. Okay, and then once you heard it, then you start seeing it in other places, and every time I see like an article written about it, and I see because you see Kratom. And you're like, oh, look, that's pretty cool. That's that legal weed that, it's picking up steam, that stuff my buddy bought or whatever. And then, I was like, I saw that the DEA was trying to make it illegal. And I was like, wow, that's stupid. Like, just going after legal weed that isn't even that good. I didn't really even think about why they would be doing that. And I saw that certain states made it illegal and everything like that. Well, about, fast forward about 3 years, and I start having intense back pain. Enough so that it was one of the influencing factors of why I quit my job. That my job on rain days required sitting in a car for 8 hours, and just the positioning and everything like that was just killing me, and there wasn't any other thing to do, so I just, that was one of the reasons I was like, I need to start reevaluating my life and what I'm doing and stuff like that. So, but anyway, my back pain was like severe lower back pain, that the only way to remedy it was to stand up and put my hands on my knees and like bend over, which is a like indicating factor of pain associated with spinal stenosis, which actually runs in my family. My brother, my dad, and my grandfather all have or had spinal stenosis. My grandfather lived the like last like 10 years of his life like bent over walking around. My dad has had back surgery where they fused his lumbar region together, and it didn't really work. He's basically almost wheelchair bound at this point. My brother seems to not bother him as much, but who knows as we get older what will happen. And so as soon as I realized that symptom, I was like, oh no, I'm the stenosis got me already, in my 30s. This sucks. Well, I also, I have arthritis, and I have a prescription to Celebrex, but I rarely take it because I try to not take pharmaceutical drugs if I, like, last resort, Celebrex doesn't really work that much better than Tylenol or ibuprofen or Aleve, and it has this side effect where it can cause ulcers. My great aunt died from ulcers related to Celebrex because of her arthritis. And, because the ulcers got like super infected and she just had a really bad infection and died. And I've always remembered that with the drug Celebrex. And that's why when a doctor put me on it, I was like, I'm going to really just take this as needed. I'm not going to take this every day. He said it's safe to, but I'm not going to. So anyway, instead of going to like a general doctor, when I started having the back pain, I went to a chiropractor. And I was like, man, I think, I told him my family history and was like, I think I got spinal stenosis. And he's like, ooh, okay, well, and he had me do some movements, had me, got me on the table and did some things and was like, man, I don't think you have spinal stenosis. He's like, I'm not saying you're out of the woods. If you have the family history of it, that definitely could happen, but it also could not. It's not a direct link between family members. So he was like, I think you just have a pinched nerve in the same region, and so whatever. He's like, there's other movements that I've had you do that would be excruciating if you had spinal stenosis and you didn't even react. So he's like, I don't think you have that. However, I kept going back to him and doing the stretches, and it dulled it a little, but it wasn't. The pain was not gone. The chiropractor did not get rid of it. And so I was like, crap, I'm going to have to go to a doctor and get, opiates. Not Oxycontin. I didn't think it was that bad yet, but I'm like, that's what's going to happen. This is my path now, is to get addicted to opiates and become a junk. That's just where my brain goes. I'm a fatalist like that. So about that same time that I'm worried about that, I joined a band, and after practice one night, we're going outside to hang out, and the other guitar player comes out with a coffee mug, and he's sipping the coffee. And I'm like, it's like 11:30 at night. I'm like, man, it's a little late for coffee, ain't it? And he's like, oh, it's not coffee. And I was like, oh, what is it? He's like, it's Kratom. And I was like, oh, okay, like a legal weed kind of thing. He's like, well, no. He's like, it's a painkiller, and I've bad back pain, and it keeps me up at night, and I take it every night, to get my back pain to go away, and it has a little sedative effect too, so it helps me sleep. He's like, that's my thing. And I was like, oh, interesting, because I'd never heard of that. So then I went home and I started researching it, and so it turns out, which I guess I should have described this in my at the start of the video, but the leaf of this tree has active ingredient in it, which I'm not going to try and pronounce it, but it's an opiate. It affects your opiate receptors in your brain, the exact same that opium from the opium poppy and all of its pharmaceutical derivatives affect pain receptors. Which you can research that more as to like the actual like chemistry going on, but that's what's going on with Kratom. However, it's related to the coffee tree, and it has other things in it that can be either stimulating or sedating or both at the same time, which is a very interesting state that I like. Not mixing uppers and downers, but I really like a calm focus. And so I started reading about it, and I'm like, wow, okay. So this drug looks like, or this plant looks like it can kill two birds with one stone with me. That it could be a calm focus kind of thing, but also get rid of my pain. And I was like, I'll try that. So unfortunately, at the same time, well, fortunately, actually, when I'm like, I gotta try that for my back. What the hell? What's can't hurt. So I get on eBay and I order some pills. But unfortunately, right after I did that, the DEA like emergency classified it. So like I was like, before they took it off of eBay, it was like the last time I could order it, and like I didn't even know if they were gonna ship it to me. Like that, it was that kind of timing. It was like I ordered it, and the DEA made eBay and PayPal take it off. So I'm like, great, I don't even know if I'm gonna get my shipment. Luckily, I did. So the pills came. I didn't really research. There's a lot of different strains and stuff. Well, I'll talk about that in a second. But I got red Mangda pills, and they were 250 milligrams each. And it didn't say anything about dosage. And I was like, I'm not going to take the high dosages that everyone says to take. I'm just going to give this a try. So I took 2 pills. It would be 500 milligrams. Boom. Back pain gone. That day, amazing. I was like, holy crap. Are you kidding me? Like, that's how good of a painkiller this is, So I was sold right there. I was like, this isn't a placebo. This back pain has been bothering me for a year, and it's gone from taking 2 pills. And, but like I didn't, I always want to kind of like find out the dosage range of whatever I'm taking. So the next day I was like, well, I'm going to take 2. Which is a bad move to do, by the way, with anything. Like, you should wait a day or 2 to, come down or whatever. But I took 2 more than 2. I took 4 the next day. And I felt really jittery, like I drank like a pot of coffee. And I was like, okay, I don't like that. I'm sticking with the 2 pills. And I took it for about a week. Didn't have any back pain the whole week. It was amazing. And then, I'm reading about it the whole time, researching it. And so everyone says, you can get addicted to it just the same as opiates and whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to stop for a week. And I did, and the back pain really didn't come back. So I'm like, okay, well, I just don't need to take it, right? And every time the back pain would come back, I would take 2 pills, and I would just take it for a couple days, and it wouldn't come back. My knee pain would flare up from my arthritis. I'd take it for a couple days, wouldn't, stop or whatever. I've never had a problem with it. But, unfortunately, like I said, right after I ordered it, the DEA, emergency classified it. And I wasn't able to get it again on eBay. Well, there's a comment period to see if they were going to actually classify it or schedule it within the Controlled Substances Act, and they got such an overwhelming public response from it that they just backed off. The DEA, said, all right, whatever. Well, once they did that, then it was back on eBay, and I had read about all the different strains and stuff because there's different regions that have the tree, and the tree gets different alkaloids in it from whatever, and blah blah blah. And so there's different strains, just like with cannabis. There's also red and white and there might be a gold. I'm not sure. It's hard to find research because there's all these like shady websites that are just trying to like be scammy, sell you bunk stuff or whatever. But I was like, the major differences seem to be the red and white. So I was like, I'm going to order more, like, because actually the stuff I got looked real shady. Like, it was just like, basically just printed off on a computer label on it and said red Mangda, 250 milligrams. A bunch of the capsules had busted open, so there was this loose powder all over in the bag. And I was like, I'm going to get some, like, higher quality stuff and see what's up. Because I didn't like, it worked for the pain at 2 pills, but anytime I took more than 2 pills, it just didn't feel good. Like, it wasn't a good buzz. I wasn't high. It was just like, like kind of flush, So I was like, well, I want to try a red and a white. And like, I really researched as much as I could and tried to like form my own idea of what I was looking for out of each strain. So I got white Indo and red Butangi or something like that. And from like a little higher quality seller on eBay, I paid a little more than I did the first time and stuff like that. And so what I've found is that the white, which I believe from reading is that they're younger leaves. The white and the red and white refers to the vein color. Is that as the leaf gets older, the veins in it become red. And it has more of the pain relief quality, and it's a little more sedating. The white are younger leaves, and it still has pain relief quality, but it also has more of a stimulant effect. So I've been experimenting with them. And like I said, I never take it for more than like a week, just because I am, I have read, and that's my disclaimer, my only disclaimer with Kratom, is that I have read that you can get a physical dependence to it, and then when you try to stop taking it, you can have like opiate like withdrawal symptoms. And that's a chemical thing that happens with the pain receptors in your brain. You don't want to mess with that. So I don't want to take it for too long. But when I stop taking it after a week, I don't have any ill effects. But you always want to have a receptor cleansing period with any drug. So anyway, the white I find is excellent to take before I work out. I often, like I said, I have problems with my hips and knees. So like if I'm doing an arm day, like I'm fine. If I'm doing a leg day or any sort of, trying to run or go on a elliptical machine or anything like that, like eventually my knees and hips will fuck me up and cut my workout short. The white Kratom stops the pain and gives me energy to do it. It is an excellent workout drug. And, I haven't I haven't noticed any difference in blood pressure and heart rate, so I don't think there's a danger of, having some sort of cardiac issue while using it and working out. I would, definitely I didn't consult a doctor before I started taking Kratom, but don't use me as your medical consultant before you work out and take Kratom, okay? But I'm saying, as just a dude, I don't think there will be an issue, but be careful. And then the red, I have found, works really good as a if my hip will bother me trying to sleep too, and I'll be hard to find a position to sleep in. And so if I take the red at night to sleep, it's great. It really helps me, sleep pain free. And I probably will experiment with some other strains and whatever. Because I definitely noticed a difference. I've had 3 kinds, and I've definitely noticed a difference in the 3. Especially the difference between red and white. It's almost 2 different substances. So that's my experience with it. I now want to talk about a little social commentary, because if no one's realized, states, once the DEA backed off, the FDA came in and is going after suppliers. And if you sell it with any sort of, basically you're supposed to put not for human consumption on it. You're supposed to put, this is sold as whatever. It's if you claim in your advertising when you're selling Kratom, if you claim any sort of healing properties, the FDA is going to shut you down. Also, states are just going after it. And so that's why it's fresh on my mind, is because I live in Ohio, and Ohio just made it illegal to sell Kratom. I hope that they don't make it to where like people can't ship it from eBay, because that is really going to piss me off, because I'm going to have to ship it to a friend's house in another state and then get it shipped. It's going to be annoying. But it's what I want to talk about is the war on plants. The policymakers and drug policy in this country, in the U.S., has a war on plants that is ridiculous. And that they're losing, too, you know. But the amount of money, time, energy wasted in trying to fight fucking plants is ridiculous, right? And now we've definitely seen this fight with cannabis. And Kratom is just the next one. Now, I recommend everyone, you know, to get a better view on the legal fight with Kratom, check out a documentary on Netflix. I think it's called A Leaf of Faith. And it's got leaf in the title, and I think I'm right. A Leaf of Faith. And it goes through kind of more of the history of Kratom and stuff like that. So that's probably a better thing than my video. But I want to just talk about plant medicine. And that's kind of, I love plants in general. Like I said, I'm a botanist and dendrologist, and you know, I love plant ecosystems and biomes and stuff like that. And I love the idea of how there's medicine growing out of the ground all around us. And unfortunately, we've come to respect medicine that comes from a lab and is sold by a corporation. We've come to respect that medicine in society with less of a stigma, and we expect it to be more effective than medicines that have grown out of the ground since as long as there's been people. And that's kind of messed up, right? And especially when you look at the policy and law enforcement is on the side of the corporations. So anything that cuts into their profit, they are going to stigmatize and make illegal and banish, right? So we saw this happen with cannabis. Cannabis has been a part of human culture forever, until the last 100 years, when it started being a threat to the paper industry, the nylon rope industry, the pharmaceutical industry. Once it became a threat, and when they could use it, to fuel race wars, then it became illegal. And we've had this stigma. Everyone watching this video for their entire life, there's been a negative stigma on a plant that used to just grow everywhere. That's why it's called weed, is it was a weed, Hemp was a huge fucking thing. And it's been made illegal and doesn't even do anything. It's just a threat to commercial industry. And so it's all been controlled by lobbyists and stuff like that. And so when Kratom was a legal weed, no one gave a shit. But when it came out as an opiate alternative, or to help people get off of opiates, then, we got to emergency classify it. So I think it shows this crazy double standard, right? Of, policy, drug policy, they want to believe that our best interests are in mind when they make drugs legal, that it has it can harm you. They're like, there's 40 deaths linked to Kratom. Well, there's just Kratom in their system when they died. Is that what killed them? No. And who cares about those 40 people? I'm sorry, but cigarettes and alcohol are very, very legal, and they're crammed down our throats with advertising dollars, even. And way more than 40 people have died from those substances. So don't fucking tell me about a drug is dangerous when it's like, do alcohol and tobacco, don't do these. That's fucking stupid. So I think we're starting to see past that double standard, but also we need to look at, like, why is there this war on plants, and why are the ones that they go after are the ones that, okay, might have some harm related to them, but their benefit is much more. Because I don't care who's watching this and where you are in the world. Within a mile of your house, there is a field of some sort of plant that is poisonous as shit and will kill you dead if you eat it. I mean, that's serious. Or a mushroom or something that is dangerous and will kill you if you eat it, and has no other benefit other than a poison. And those aren't illegal. You could chop up poison hemlock and dry it out and put it in pills, or find a deadly Gallerina mushroom and dry that out and put it in pills, and go to a farmer's market and put the bottle there and say poison hemlock, poison Gallerina, and even lie to people. If you wanted to do this, you'd be an asshole. And even lie to people and say, "Oh yeah, it's antioxidant. Just don't take too much or whatever." And that's legal. I mean, other than telling people it's not a poison, but still, okay. If you people I see in their gardens all over grow castor plants. They're huge. I don't know if anyone's ever seen okra, but it looks like okra, except it's got purple leaves and it has these spiky seed pods on it. Well, if you take those seed pods and dry them out and take the seed coating off, that's ricin, which is the poison that people send in the mail to, like, politicians and stuff like that, because you can't smell it and whatever, and it'll absorb through your hands. Well, other than sending it to people to poison them, none of the process of having castor plants growing in your yard is illegal. You can make castor bean oil and stuff like that, and it's not poisonous, but it also has a very poisonous substance that comes along with making the oil. So, but what I'm saying is, like, Kratom has so many benefits, and the only thing that I would be worried about with it is the potential for addiction or abuse or whatever. I know some people say to take like 5 grams and stuff like that, and I haven't gotten to that level. Like, I take 2 pills, and when I work out with the white, I take 3 pills. So I'm talking 1.5 grams, maybe. I don't take more than that. I never take it for a long enough period where I need to up my dosage. But, why are we making drug policy against the possibility of people becoming addicted to something? Humans are creatures of habit. We're going to be addicted to stuff. What's the harm in it, right? Like, if Kratom is safe, what's the harm in doing it and possibly having a habit-forming thing with it? As long as you're not overdoing it and stealing to get it or whatever. Like, we police against addiction so bad. But the most addictive stuff right now is the pharmaceutical opiates. And people are fucking dying off of them. And we need to look at that, because is the pharmaceutical industry interested in curing any condition? No. They're interested in creating customers and keeping customers. And they're interested in protecting their own profit margin. And they have a patent on a drug that, if they can defeat the competition, they will. And they will use misdirection and propaganda and lobbying and law enforcement to do that. And that's what they're doing. They can't patent plant medicine, because in the plant medicine world, there's active ingredients that they look at, right? In cannabis, there's THC, but we also know there's 100 other things going on with it. They can't patent all of that to have that synergistic effect that is so effective in using the whole plant. And Kratom's the same way. They could take the opiate part, but they can't get all the other stuff that makes it work as a whole. So they probably will in the future come out with a pharmaceutical drug that is derived from the pain relief quality of Kratom, but they won't have the whole plant effect. So I don't know if they know that, but that's why it doesn't work to make, Marinol or whatever. You have to have medical marijuana. You can't just have a medical pill. Like, you need all of the components to have the synergistic effect. And like I've said before, in plant medicine, there's plant teachers and plant healers. And I definitely think that Kratom is firmly rooted in in the plant healer role in the plant medicine world, and should be a part of everyone's plant medicine chest. I mean, it should be. I feel the same way with cannabis. Cannabis is kind of in the in-between of the plant teacher, plant healer world. And when I'm talking plant teacher, I mean, I'm talking like psychedelic drugs, ayahuasca and, mescaline and mushrooms and stuff like that. They might have a little bit of a medical benefit, but that's mostly a mental benefit. But I think that the whole, and I'm talking the whole plant too, because eating raw mushrooms is a different experience than just taking a synthesized or isolated psilocybin pill or same thing with cactus and mescaline. Like, there's other stuff going on that adds to the experience, and that's the same way with Kratom and cannabis and honestly opium too. They've derived all these pharmaceutical drugs that are so dangerous from a raw plant sap that has a bunch of other alkaloids in it. And I know people got addicted to ending up, being in an opium den, smoking opium. I've smoked a lot of opium. It's like, it wasn't a good buzz. It wasn't whatever. But raw opium for a very, very long time was part of the medical, toolkit for pain relief and stuff like that. And it didn't become a problem until they started making morphine and codeine and all these other, drugs that were so much more powerful that they got so much more addicted and had so much more side effects. But the raw whole plant experience doesn't seem to be as bad as they want to demonize it out to be. I've seen videos online of people like guerrilla growing opium poppies and harvesting the sap to have as a homemade painkiller. And again, that speaks to the whole plant experience. And I feel that that's what's going on with Kratom, is that the pharmaceutical company doesn't want to lose their grip on the opiate addiction in this country and around the world. And Kratom seems to be threatening that, so they're going to demonize it if they can. The article that just came out, talking about in Ohio, that they're going to be banning sales of it. It said that they did a study that 7 out of 10 people shoot up Kratom, like in their vein, which is ridiculous. I do not believe that. I'm not saying nobody's done it, but first off, I don't even think that would have an effect. Second off, I think you're only going to shoot plant material into your vein once before you realize that was not a good idea. And so I really, really don't believe that 7 out of 10 Kratom users shoot it in their vein. But that just goes to show the kind of bullshit propaganda that comes along with the war on plants. I mean, how much bullshit have you read early on in the fight to make cannabis illegal, did they say? About people getting high on weed and killing their families and stuff like that. It's just bullshit that fucking old people listen to and then vote accordingly or get scared and whatever, Because what sucks is I really want to get my dad to try Kratom to just kind of make his life a little more pleasurable, but he won't because it's illegal, or it's going to be illegal. And that's a real shame, is that that generation really listens to the man, and the man is saying, get the drugs from your doctor, not from eBay, you know? And yeah, I don't know. So that's my story with Kratom. That's my idea on, like, it's just the war on plants is bullshit, and we need to look past it. And if it grows out of the ground, you know, I don't need the government to tell me to do it or not. If it grows out of the ground, it does that for a reason, I feel like. But anyway, thanks for watching. This was a long one. I'm sorry. Like I said at the start, email me, follow the rabbit hole. And this is Sunday. I'm going to post this in a minute. I'm going to watch it again to make sure I didn't mess up too bad. But I'm going to post it. This is Sunday afternoon. Tonight at probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock Eastern time, I will be doing a live stream. So stick or make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you can see when I'm going live. And I hope to see you guys in there tonight. Other than that, have a good day.